Stop. Just stop for 1 second before you scroll past this. I need you to really hear what I'm about to say, because this could be the most important thing you watch all year. Picture this. You wake up one morning, check your bank account, and the rule by seniors check you have been counting on, the one you spent 30 or 40 years working for, is 20 or 25% smaller than it should be. Not because of some mistake, not because of a glitch, but because the system that promised to take care of you is running out of money. Your rent is due. Your medication needs to be refilled. Your groceries are not going to buy themselves. And suddenly, the money is just not there. This is not a scary story I made up. This is exactly what government projections are warning could happen within the next decade to rule by seniors. And the worst part? Most people have no idea it is already happening in ways they cannot even see. In this video, I am going to pull back the curtain on what is really going on with rule by seniors, why your check could already be shrinking without anyone telling you, and the exact steps you need to take right now to protect everything you have earned. And please, do not skip to the end, because the last thing I share in this video could literally save your retirement. Before we go any further, I want to speak directly to you. If you care about rule by seniors, retirement benefits, Medicare, government payments, and the financial changes that could turn your future upside down, this channel was built specifically for people like you. Every single week, I take complicated government updates and break them down into plain, clear language, so you always know exactly what is happening and how it could affect your money. Coming up over the next few videos, I will be covering new rule by seniors, rule changes you need to know about, future COLA increases and what they actually mean for your wallet, hidden benefit reductions that most retirees never catch, and major retirement policy updates heading your way soon. If you want to stay ahead of all of this and never get caught off guard by a change that hits your benefits, subscribe to this channel right now. This community exists for one reason: to make sure you are never left in the dark about your money, and I would be honored to have you here. Now let me explain what rule by seniors actually is, because understanding this makes everything else in this video hit even harder. Rule by seniors is a promise the government made to the American people back in 1935. While you worked, a small portion of every paycheck you earned was set aside. Your employer matched it dollar for dollar. All of that money went into a fund, and when you reached retirement age, or if you became too sick or disabled to work, the government would send you a monthly check to help you survive. That is rule by seniors. Simple, right? But here is what people forget. This is not charity. This is not a handout. This is your money. Money that was taken from your paycheck every single week for decades. So when politicians talk about cutting rule by seniors, let that sink in. They are talking about taking back money that was already taken from you. And now that money is in serious trouble. The Rule by Seniors Trust Fund, the giant pool that pays out everyone's benefits, is draining fast. The government's own reports are saying that without major changes, that fund could hit zero, somewhere around 2033 to 2035. Now, before you panic, let me be clear about what that actually means. It does not mean rule by seniors vanishes overnight. What it means is that after that point, the system could only pay out roughly 75 to 80 cents for every dollar it owes you. So if your check is supposed to be $1,000 a month, you might only see $750 or $800 instead. That is $200 to $250 gone every single month. For someone living on a fixed income, that is not just uncomfortable. That could mean choosing between groceries and medication. That could mean not being able to pay rent. That is the reality millions of Americans are quietly heading toward right now. So how did we get here? The biggest reason is demographics. When Rule by Seniors first started, there were about 16 workers paying into the system for every one retiree collecting benefits. Today, that number has collapsed to just 3 workers for every retiree. And it is still falling. Every single day, around 10,000 baby boomers turn 65 and begin collecting Rule by Seniors. That is a massive tidal wave of people shifting from contributors to collectors, and the system was simply never designed to absorb that kind of pressure. On top of that, people are living far longer than anyone expected back in 1935. When Rule by Seniors was created, the average life expectancy was around 61 or 62. The retirement age was set at 65, which means, statistically, many people were not even expected to collect for very long. But today, people routinely live into their 80s and 90s, which means the system is paying out benefits for 25, 30, sometimes even 35 years per person. That is extraordinary. And financially, it is an enormous strain that was never planned for. There is also a massive tax gap that most people do not know about. Rule by Seniors is funded through payroll taxes. But there is a cap. In 2024, only the first $168,600 of your income is taxed for Rule by Seniors. So if you are a regular worker making $60,000 or $80,000 a year, every single dollar you earn is taxed. But if you are a CEO pulling in $5 million a year, you only pay Rule by Seniors tax on the first $168,600, and everything else is completely untouched. That means the wealthiest Americans are paying a tiny fraction of their income into the same system that working class people are fully funding. And that imbalance is a major reason why the trust fund is struggling. Now let us get into what Washington is actually doing about this, and I want you to brace yourself, because some of these proposals are going to make your blood boil. One of the most talked about ideas is raising the full retirement age from 67 all the way up to 69 or even 70. Think about what that really means. If you have spent your whole career doing physical labor, construction, factory work, caregiving, you could be told that you need to keep grinding until you are 70 years old just to receive the full benefit you were already promised. And if your body cannot keep up and you are forced to retire early, your monthly check gets slashed permanently. That is not a reform. That is a punishment for people who worked the hardest. Then, there is the quiet manipulation of the COLA, which is the annual cost of living adjustment that is supposed to help your Rule by Seniors check keep up with inflation. Some politicians want to change the formula used to calculate this increase, which sounds technical and boring until you realize what it actually means. It means smaller raises every year. And while a few dollars less per year might not sound devastating, compound that over 15 or 20 years of retirement, and you are talking about thousands upon thousands of dollars in benefits that simply disappear. The people hit hardest by this are always the oldest retirees, the ones who have been in the system the longest and who are dealing with the highest medical costs at the same time. There is also a push for something called means testing, which would reduce or eliminate Rule by Seniors benefits for people deemed too wealthy. And while that might sound reasonable on the surface, here is the danger. The threshold for what counts as too wealthy can be quietly lowered over time. What starts as targeting millionaires could eventually reach people with $300,000 or $400,000 in savings. And for a retiree trying to stretch that money across 20 or 30 years of living expenses, losing Rule by Seniors on top of everything else could be financially catastrophic. But here is what really should concern you. Your Rule by Seniors is already being quietly reduced right now, and most people have absolutely no idea. If you are on Medicare, your Part B premium is automatically deducted straight from your Rule by Seniors check. And those premiums have been rising faster than the annual COLA increases for years. So even in the years when your Rule by Seniors gets a raise, a huge portion of that raise, sometimes all of it, gets swallowed up by higher Medicare costs. Your check stays flat or even shrinks while your bills keep climbing. That is a real cut. It just does not come with an announcement. There is also the issue of taxes on your Rule by Seniors benefits. Depending on your total income, up to 85% of your benefits could be subject to federal income tax. And the income limits that determine when this kicks in were set back in 1984 and have never once been updated for inflation. So year after year, more and more middle-class retirees get dragged into paying taxes on benefits they earned through a lifetime of work. This is called bracket creep, and it is silently eating away at the real value of rule by seniors checks all across the country. And if all of that was not enough, the Rule by Seniors administration itself is being hollowed out. Offices are closing, staff are being cut or not replaced. Phone wait times have stretched to hours. People are showing up in person and finding lines out the door. Processing backlogs are delaying benefits for months. And in some cases, people have been underpaid for years simply because no one was available to catch or correct the error. For someone who depends on that check to keep the lights on and the refrigerator stocked, a delay of even a few weeks is not just inconvenient, it is a crisis. So what do? First, go to ssa.gov right now and create an account if you do not have one. Check your earnings record carefully. If any year of your work history is missing or incorrect, your benefit calculation is wrong, and you could be leaving money on the table for the rest of your life. Fix any errors immediately. Second, if you are still working, save everything you possibly can. Contribute to your 401k, at least enough to capture any employer match. Open an IRA if you do not have one. Even modest savings now create a buffer that could protect you later if Rule by Seniors benefits are reduced. Third, think very carefully about when you claim. Claiming at 62 cuts your benefit permanently by up to 30%. Waiting until 70 increases it by about 24% above your full retirement age amount. Every year you delay between your full retirement age and 70 adds roughly 8% to your monthly benefit for life. That kind of guaranteed growth does not exist anywhere else. Fourth, make your voice heard. Call your representatives, send emails, show up. Politicians only act when they feel pressure from the people they represent. Your Rule by Seniors is on the line, and silence is not an option. Fifth, protect yourself from scams. Fraudsters are targeting Rule by Seniors recipients with fake calls, claiming your benefits are suspended or your account has been flagged. The real Rule by Seniors administration will never threaten you over the phone, demand payment, or ask for gift cards or wire transfers. If you get a call like that, hang up immediately and report it. When in doubt, call 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov directly. Here is the truth that every American needs to understand. Rule by Seniors is not a government favor. It is not welfare. It is a system that roughly 67 million people depend on every single month. For half of all seniors, it makes up at least 50% of their total income. For 1 in 4 seniors, it is 90% or more of everything they have. Without Rule by Seniors, nearly 40% of elderly Americans would fall into poverty. That is not a statistic to gloss over. That is tens of millions of human beings who worked their entire lives and would be left with nothing. Rule by Seniors also supports millions of disabled workers, surviving spouses, and children who lost a parent. Any cut to this program does not just affect retirees. It reaches into every corner of American life. And to those who call Rule by Seniors a Ponzi scheme or claim it is going broke, that is simply false. It is a pay-as-you-go system. As long as Americans are working and paying payroll taxes, money keeps coming in. Even if the trust fund hits zero, current payroll taxes would still cover about 75 to 80% of promised benefits. The system has a gap that needs to be fixed, not a death sentence. And the fixes are not complicated. Lifting or eliminating the cap on taxable earnings so that wealthy Americans pay into the system on all of their income. A modest increase in the payroll tax rate. Exploring smarter investment strategies for trust fund reserves. These are real, workable solutions. The only thing standing in the way is political courage, and that is exactly what we need to demand from our leaders. So here is where I leave you. Do not panic. But do not wait either. The threat to your rule by seniors is real, and it is growing. But you are not powerless. Review your account. Plan your claiming strategy. Save what you can, and fight for what you are owed. You spent a lifetime earning this. You paid into this system with every paycheck, through every long shift, through every hard year. Nobody has the right to quietly take that away from you. And if this video helped you see that more clearly, please share it. Your friends, your parents, your neighbors, they all need to hear this too. Hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an update that could affect your money, and drop a comment below. Are you worried about your rule by seniors? Have you already felt the impact of these changes? Tell me your story. I read every single one. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay informed, and I will see you in the next video.